Welcome to my video covering my freestyle tournament held on Go Stadium. So let's start off with my first opponent. His team was pretty weak against my Deoxys defense, so he had to include either Altaria or Venusaur. So to cover my Deoxys defense, I brought along my Skarmory to counter Venusaur or Altaria. And in case he brings both his flying types, so Altaria and Skarmory, I brought in Probopass, which is pretty safe against him. I just had to make sure that it didn't get trapped against a Medicham or a Hydro Pump Azumarill variant. So I didn't record the first game, but I started off with Deoxys defense since it was pretty safe. And he starts off with Azumarill, and he switches into his Venusaur. I switch into my Skarmory and farm the Venusaur. And after that, I won this game in a very dominant fashion without using any shields. And for the second game I didn't do any adjustments and just wanted to see whether he would do some. So we start off with Deoxys against Altaria, his true counter against my Deoxys, which was pretty predictable. So now I didn't want it to switch and get trapped, so I just played it out. And I do my Psycho Boost, which was the most effective. So now I do switch into my Skarmory, which was at this point pretty safe, but yeah, he did make an adjustment and brought along his Bestidon to farm my Skarmory, which was good by him. So now I'm trapped. And I just do my best to do as much damage as I can against this Bestidon. So my Flash Cannons instead of the Sky Attacks. And now here comes a Stone Edge. No reason for me to shield since I wanted to get out of this matchup as soon as possible. Since in here I under-tap to get to my Flash Cannon before he feints me with just a Smackdown. And now, yeah, after another Smackdown, my Skarmory faints, and I now switch into my Deoxys defense. Yeah, and here comes the Stone Edge, which I shield, but at this point, I don't know. He comes back with his Altaria now. I do my best to damage it, but I knew that I had no chance against it. So yeah, I switch into my Probopass to absorb the Sky Attack since I expected it. So yeah, that's one shield I saved up from myself. But yeah, he brought along Medicham just to counter my Probopass. So yeah, very good adjustments from him, and I pretty much lost this at this point. So for the game 3 I swapped out my Skarmory since I was pretty afraid of Bestidon and didn't want to get farmed. I swapped it out against Azumarill since Azumarill had a pretty good matchup against Medicham, Bestidon and Altaria he brought in game 2. So yeah, Skarmory wasn't that good or didn't have that good matchups against Altaria. It's pretty even against Altaria and pretty bad against Bestidon, and just barely beats Medicham, so that's why I replaced him with Azumarill. And I even lead off with Azumarill since I expected him to expect me to adjust to his Altaria lead, so probably thinking that I will start off with the Probopass, or he could also stay in with his Altaria lead and stick to it. And that's why I started off with Azumarill, since Azumarill deals with both pretty safe. And since he didn't bring his Venusaur in the last 2 games, I felt pretty safe with Azumarill. So starting off, Azumarill against Medicham, which was very good for me. So yeah, I just played out, expecting him to switch out after one power punch maybe. So here comes his first power punch. I definitely won't shield that. So since he didn't decide to switch, I do my play rough, and he didn't shield that. So that was very unexpected. Now he switches into his Altaria, which was fine by me as well. So I do my play rough to get a shield out of him, which I did. So now I switch into Probopass just to farm this Altaria. I didn't have to shield anything for my Altaria. Probopass just resists all Altaria's moves. Just have to make sure that I didn't farm too much energy, since you're capped at 100 energy. So now I do one on Rock Slide, since I know that Altaria can take one of those. So now I even do 2 Rock Slides back to back, just to get rid of my energy, my remaining energy, and yeah, start to farm again against this Altaria. And since I knew that he had Medicham in the back, I wanted my Probopass as low as possible. So yeah, this amount of HP is perfect. It's just one counter away from Medicham from fainting. So now in comes his Medicham back with very low HP, and I come in with Azumarill, tanked his Ice Punch. Okay, well, either Ice Punch or Power Punch, but both don't really hurt Azumarill too much. So yeah, I pretty much won with 2 shields, and his remaining Pokemon is Probopass again, and I just Hydro Pump it down. So yeah, GG's for this opponent. So for my second opponent, I pretty much expected him to bring Tropius and Altaria double flying against me, since it's pretty effective against my team. And he probably has to bring Lantern to counter my possible Skarmory that could wall Tropius and tie with Altaria. So I pretty much knew from the beginning what he would bring, and I just adjusted to that. So I still brought in my Deoxys defense to see what he brought, and it was there to counter his Lantern pretty much, and of course my Skarmory and my Probopass to wall his Altaria and pretty much tie with Tropius. So I start off with my Probopass as a lead, since I expected him to start off with a flying type, since Tropius and Altaria can deal with my Deoxys defense. So now I do 2 sparks, but I see that he didn't attack and neither did he switch. So I stopped after 2 sparks and waited him to attack me. So we are even in energy, and I don't get any huge advantage over him, since I'm in a good position now, but I don't have to cheat my way through this game. So yeah, I waited for him and thought to myself, yeah, that's probably a restart. And no, he does some Dragon Breath and switches into his Lantern. And I tried to switch. This was while the switch mechanics were changed, and yeah, that was just horrible to play with. So yeah, he switches into his Lantern. I just take the first Thunderbolt, do my Psycho Boost, which should bring down this Lantern if we use up the same amount of shields. So here in comes the second Thunderbolt, which I shield again. Shield for the first time. And I tried to piggyback here, but it didn't happen. Didn't work. But now he shields as well. So we race to our charge moves. He does his Thunderbolt first, since his Lantern is a Charge Beam variant. So I shield that, do my Psycho Boost, which he finally let through. So when his Lantern faints, he has a 1 shield advantage, but that didn't really matter since I had my hard wall Probo Pass for his Altaria and probably his Tropius, and which I can wall with my Skarmory in the back. So yeah, that's pretty much wrapped here. So I come in with Probo Pass to absorb his Sky Attack or whatever charge move comes. And yeah, I think he tried to switch there, but the switch mechanics were so bad, which is why he couldn't. So now I Rock Tomb hit, in comes this expected Tropius. I do one final Rock Slide with my Probo Pass and switch into my Skarmory to seal the deal. So, oh no, I did not. I just wanted to win this with my Probo Pass and not reveal my Skarmory in the back. So yeah, I defeat him. Probo Pass wins against Tropius in a 0 shield matchup, so yeah. Oh no, he switches in. Okay. But well, yeah, I still had my Skarmory in the back, which could counter the Altaria in a 0 shield scenario. So yeah, GG's. In game 2 I swapped out my Deoxys against Tropius to hard counter his Lantern, which he did indeed brought, and also his double flying. So in the second game I started off with Skarmory to counter his probably Tropius, which had a better matchup against my Probo Pass. And even if he brought Altaria again as a lead, my Skarmory still could handle it. And we start off with Tropius against Skarmory, which I predicted. So yeah, this is a very good matchup for me. He immediately switches, which was expected, and I switch into my Lantern to counter my Tropius and pretty much farm him down. So he does one charge move here, and I definitely won't shield that, since I knew that after that his Altaria will come back and will try to farm my Tropius. So I wanted my Tropius as low as possible. So here comes his Altaria. I do my area ace to do as much damage as I can with Tropius, and after that come in with Probo Pass to farm his Altaria. He even shields his Altaria, which was probably a mistake by him, but in this scenario I think he pretty much lost this game, since he didn't have the answer to Skarmory anymore. So yeah, GG. So my opponent in round 3 has Deoxys defense, which was pretty good against my team, so I always expected it to be around. I also expected him to bring either Tropius or Altaria to counter my Deoxys defense, and which is why he would also predict that I would bring Skarmory to counter those two. And that's pretty much it. Then from there I could expect him to bring Deoxys, an Altaria or Tropius, and a Magnezone. That's why in the end I brought my both flyers, so Tropius and Skarmory, and the Probo Pass. Tropius to counter his Deoxys defense, Probo Pass to counter the Magnezone and the flying type, and Skarmory also for the flying types, and it could win against Deoxys defense if the Deoxys defense doesn't hit it Thunderbolt and doesn't have Rock Slide. So that's why I started off with Skarmory, expecting him to start off with either the flying type or Deoxys defense, but he perfectly predicts me and starts off with Magnezone. That's why I swapped in my Tropius, which could handle Magnezone with its Razor Leaf spam. So here comes this White Charge. I did pretty much nothing, let it through, since I expected him to switch into Altaria to farm my Tropius, but no, his Tropius comes. So now I tried to Sheep Bait him and Leaf Blade, which he does end up shielding, which was very good for me. So now, I don't know, he tried to energy farm me, but ended up being bad, really bad for him. He should have done his Aerial Ace to feint my Tropius. So here comes his final charge move, which I let through to finally switch into my Skarmory safely without wasting my switch, and just straight up farm this Tropius, which was very unlucky for him. So in comes the Skarmory. He does one of his charge moves, which I definitely won't shield with my Skarmory. So now, yeah, he tries to feint me, but yeah, no way Tropius wins against the Skarmory. Just me farming this Tropius. So now, whatever comes, I can safely Sky Attack, but I expected him to switch into Magnezone. So now I switch into my Probopass, and he switches into his Azumarill, which I did not expect, but okay. So now I do my Rock Slide to shield bait him, which he does end up shielding, which was very good for me. So now here comes a charge move, which I don't know, now looking back, couldn't have been Hydro Pump anyways, and yeah, but I had to make sure that I win this matchup, since my Probopass is the only way to win for me now. So now in comes the second charge move, which I shield, which is also Ice Beam. So yeah, in this case I already knew, or not knew, but could assume that his Azumarill didn't have Hydro Pump. So I Rock Slide him just to finish him off and do my second Rock Slide, since I farmed him up enough against this Magnezone. His Magnezone probably has enough energy, yeah, for a White Charge anyways. So he does one Flash Cannon and feints my Probopass, but since I farmed his Tropius enough and didn't waste my energy on his Magnezone, I could safely Flash Cannon his Magnezone and win this game. So in game 2 I didn't do any big adjustments, just changed my lead to Tropius. Since Tropius could handle his Azumarill, Magnezone or Tropius, I was pretty confident in the mirror match. Also my Probopass had pretty good IV, so yeah, very confident in the mirror match. And assuming he doesn't make any changes, I should win the lead. So we start off with the Tropius mirror match in the end, so pretty funny. So since I shield baited him the first time on the first charge move, this time I will straight up go for the Aerial Ace. So he times it perfectly, and since he had CMP, he gets to do his charge move first, but it ended up being Leaf Blade, which is very good by him. He shield baited me, I didn't want to take any risks. So now I do my Aerial Ace, and he ended up not shielding, which is very good for me. So yeah, now I'm in a position that I can just spam Leaf Blade, and as soon as one shield Leaf Blade goes through, I win this matchup. So now he shields bait me again with his Leaf Blade. I mean, at this point I was pretty afraid that I would lose this mirror match, since I shielded both of his Leaf Blades, and now he shields one of my Leaf Blade. So now we race, or pretty much he races to his Aerial Ace to feint down my Tropius as soon as possible. He gets to his Aerial Ace, which gets me to red. So I do my Leaf Blade now, and he ended up letting it through, so I think that was a huge mistake by him. Otherwise he would have got to his lead blade earlier than me and feinted my Tropius down before his Tropius feints and this way he could have gotten the switch advantage. But now he's trapped in with Magnezone against my Pro Pass. He switches to his Azumarill. I do another Rock Slide instead of the Thunderbolt to shield bait him, but this time he lets through. So yeah, I switch into my Azumarill just to absorb his Ice Beams, which wasn't really bad. I just wanted my Pro Pass to preserve my Pro Pass for his Magnezone, and since Skarmory had no chance against his Magnezone, I definitely had to absorb some charge moves with my Skarmory. So now I'm in a position that I can probably take a shield from this Azumarill, his last enraging shield, and with that I can get to my Sky Tech again. We are both pretty low, and he does his charge move since he is one air slash away from feigning. So yeah, in comes my Pro Pass. I knew he had enough energy for a Flash Cannon, so in comes his Flash Cannon, which I barely survive with, I don't know, 15% HP. So I load up on energy to do exactly 2 Rock Slides, or I thought I was at 2 Rock Slides. So yeah, since I got to 2 Rock Slides, I win this match. So yeah, GG. It was a very close game. And for the fourth and final opponent, who had a pretty classic meta line consisting of Azumarill, Skarmory, Venusaur, Propass, Sableye and Deoxys defense. Starting off with Deoxys counter, since I knew that he would surely bring his Deoxys. So either Tropius or Umbreon, and also something that could beat the Venusaur, since Venusaur is pretty good against the Tropius or the Umbreon. So definitely a Skarmory there. And for the last member I picked something pretty safe, and that's my Hydro Pump Azumarill, since it could possibly win against the Skarmory, Probopass and his Deoxys defense, and easily the Sableye. And that's why I started off with Azumarill, expecting him to start off with Deoxys or Skarmory, Propass or Sableye. And I end up facing Deoxys, so in my head I knew I could win if I shield the Thunderbolts and hit my Hydro Pump. So yeah, I shield the first charge move to make sure, I don't know whether he has the Thunderbolt set. So now I throw my Play Rough, expecting him to shield, which he did, which is pretty good. So yeah, in comes this next charge move. I let it through, which was Psycho Boost, which was very good. So now I have 1 shield left to be able to shield his Thunderbolt. So yeah, in comes this next charge move, which charges up pretty fast, and it ended up being Thunderbolt, which hurt my Azumarill pretty much, and it at very low HP now. Both are in the red, but his counters end up feinting my Azumarill, which was very bad for me. So I expected him to have enough energy to Psycho Boost, which he probably would spam right now. So I swapped in my Umbreon to soak the Psycho Boost damage. Ended up saving 1 shield. So now, but I also could have switched into my Skarmory, but I didn't want to soak unexpected Thunderbolt with my Skarmory. So now in comes this Venusaur. I knew I could win in a 1 shield scenario. I mean, I thought in this moment So now I do my foul plays, he shields it. Now we are both at even shields, or pretty much no shields. And I tried to switch here 2 times, but it didn't work. So I couldn't soak the Frenzy Plant from the Venusaur, and I just played this match out. Or rather, I do my foul play here to do as much damage as I could with my Umbreon, and try to wait. I even lag here, and yeah, I lagged hard there. Couldn't even switch or do my Snarls. So now I switch into my Skarmory, farm 2 air slashes off him, and in comes this Sableye, and I knew I could win this, since Sableye wins only in a 1 and 2 shields, I think. Yeah, he doesn't mistake by shadow sneaking me instead of foul playing me. Foul play would have been more damage against this Skarmory. So now I know he will probably end up doing his charge move before me, but I under-tap my Sky Attack and get off my Sky Attack before his charge move and win this round, which was very fortunate for me. And since his Sableye did so poorly in game 1, I expected him to swap it out. And also because I knew the moveset of his Deoxys, which was the same as mine, I knew that my Deoxys was pretty safe against his team. So it pretty much ties against his, and it could deal with Venusaur and whatever he brings instead of the Sableye, since I didn't bring my Deoxys defense in game 1, which he expected. And I also brought in my Tropius, since I knew that he didn't bring Skarmory and Venusaur together in game 1. So Tropius had 4 good matchups against his team, so it was pretty reliable, which is why I brought it in game 2. So now my team consists of Deoxys defense, Skarmory and Tropius, double flying and a Deoxys defense. And I start off with Deoxys. So we start off with a Deoxys mirror match. So I knew that I had to shield bait him multiple times to end up winning this set. So now in comes his first charge move, which I let through, which ended up being Psycho Boost, which is good. Now I do my Psycho Boost, expecting him to shield my which he did not. So we're pretty much on the same pace now. Still. Now I do my second Psycho Boost, which he now ends up shielding, which is very good for me. So now he does his second charge move, which I shield, but it ended up being Psycho Boost. So now we both used up 1 shield. So he does another Psycho Boost, which I let through, which is very good. Now I do my third Psycho Boost, which he shields. So now I'm ahead. I knew that if I shield the next charge move, I pretty much won at this point, since I get to my Thunderbolt before he gets to his final Psycho Boost. So now I even farm him for another 2 counters, just to have enough energy maybe for the following Pokemon. So end up being Venusaur, and my Deoxys feigns from the Venusaur's Vine Lips. So I swap into my Skarmory, which was a very good matchup. I could pretty much absorb anything he throws at me, and I do a crucial mistake, but you have to know that I did these matches at 1 PM, so I was pretty sleepy. So this was very bad. I should have farmed the Venusaur for enough energy for a Flash Cannon against this Tropius, against this Probopass. But now I even switched too late. I should have swapped immediately, since I expected him to bring the Probopass. So he does a Thunderbolt instead of a Rock Slide, which was crucial. A crucial mistake by him. So now I get to my first Leaf Blade, which does a decent amount. And now he does one rock slide. And look at the damage of the rock slide. So if he, instead of doing Thunderbolt the first time, he would have won. So in the end, we both did mistakes, and yeah, I was very fortunate that mine didn't matter there, and I still won. So yeah, GG's. I won this freestyle tournament 4-0,